Hey there, and welcome to From 9 to Thrive. I'm Michele O'Connor, your guide on this fun and slightly rebellious journey to escape the 9 to 5 grind and build a life you actually love. Whether you're stuck in a cubicle dreaming of freedom, running a side hustle, or just wondering if there's more to life than Zoom meetings and office coffee, this podcast is for you. Each week, we'll dive into tips, strategies, and real life stories to help you leave the grind behind and create a business that works for you, not the other way around. And because we don't take ourselves too seriously around here, expect a few laughs along the way. Oh, and every now and then we'll bring on some inspiring guests who've been there, done that, and are here to share their secrets to success. So grab your coffee, your wine, or whatever fuels your fire. This is From 9 to Thrive, where we're ditching the grind and designing the dream. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome to another fabulous Freedom Friday episode. This is the day where I get to chat about whatever's on my mind, sprinkle in a bit of travel inspiration, and hopefully ignite a little wanderlust in your soul. Today we're talking about exploring Washington, D.C. solo style. Why D.C., you ask? Well, whether you're headed there for a conference or just want to plan an adventure, our nation's capital has so much to offer, from jaw-dropping museums, did I mention most of them are free, to picturesque spots like the National Mall, and even secret gems you stumble upon by accident. Traveling solo doesn't mean missing out. It means freedom to explore on your terms. And I've got plenty of tips and tricks and stories to share. You ready? Awesome. Grab your coffee, grab your notepad, and let's hit the road to DC. Hey, this is Michele with From 9 to Thrive, and it is Freedom Friday. And I have said all along that on these episodes of Freedom Friday that I get to talk about what I want to talk about and where I want to go, and hopefully inspire y'all on places to go, things to do, all of that, and sprinkle in a little bit of pixie dust along the way. Today, let's talk about exploring DC, our nation's capital, alone. Michele, why would I be exploring DC alone? Well, if you have a meeting there or a conference, because there's lots of conferences that occur in the DC area, take advantage of when you are at these conferences to explore the city you're visiting. There are so many cool cities that we end up traveling to for conferences: Chicago, DC. And so make sure that you figure out some things to do. Obviously, I'm not telling you to wander around town at night by yourself. That's not what I'm saying. Don't mishear me. Be careful, use common sense, but there are ways to explore. You can take Ubers and Lyfts and public transportation and all of that to explore. And usually, if you're there at a conference, you meet people or you're with other people, and so that you can then, as a group, go do something. This is a way to whet that appetite, whet that whistle on the possibilities and traveling, if that's your hot button, which it is absolutely mine, of how I want to live my life when I can ditch the 9 to 5 and escape the cubicle and do things on my own time. And that involves a lot of traveling. I just love, let me preface this, I love DC. We live a little over 3 hours outside of DC. And when the kids were little, we would do day trips. Long story why it was a day trip, but we would do day trips there and back. And what I love about DC is there is so many things to see and explore that are free. So when the kids were into dinosaurs, we went to the museum there and saw the dinosaurs. I happen to love the American History Museum and going there and seeing all of the First Lady's gowns from Martha Washington on. I just think that's cool. They have Julia Child's kitchen there. And to me, it was just really cool to see how this absolute genius in the kitchen had her kitchen organized. And it wasn't fancy. She just had a pegboard. But being able to see all of that is really cool. We've wandered into some amazing places just by accident because DC buildings are so beautiful and have such amazing architecture. You just don't know what they are sometimes. And we've wandered in and seen some of the most amazing exhibits, not knowing on purpose that's what we were trying to do. And funny thing is, trying to go back and recreate that, you can't. You just have to stumble into some of these sometimes. Fun fact. The Library of Congress is the largest library in the world. Did you know that?
I didn't either. So when you look at how DC's laid out, you have the National Mall. At one end is the Washington Monument, and at the other end is the Capitol. And along the outer edge, you have the Smithsonian and so many other things that are happening on there. And the National Mall, even if you don't want to go inside and explore a museum, the National Mall, you can just go for a leisurely stroll. Grab a lunch from a restaurant along the way, a takeout, and go sit on the National Mall and just be in that space. It's really cool. It's You can also go explore the Lincoln Memorial, go walk up the steps, sit on the steps. He is absolutely impressive sitting in there. He just sits in his chair and you just want to have these conversations with him. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just want to have these conversations with him. The Washington Monument, it's really cool. I'm terrified of heights. And if you know me at all, you know how terrified of heights I am. But it is worth taking the elevator up and looking out the little windows at the very top because the view from up at the top of the Washington Monument is absolutely amazing. And of course, you have the reflecting pool and the Jefferson Memorial. I haven't had an opportunity to really explore the Jefferson Memorial very much, but you can take a cab or an Uber or Lyft over there and wander around if you time it right. And I have never been able to time this, but if you can time it right and be there when the cherry blossoms are out, absolutely breathtaking as you can see from pictures. But that is on my bucket list. I want to go see the cherry blossoms in bloom. And of course, you've got around the corner there, you have the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. And that does have a traveling version that travels across the country. It has various stops along the way. But just being able to see it there in its completion is breathtaking. And then of course, you can come around and see the White House. I have not actually been able to take the tour of the White House. I've walked by the White House. I've been around all around the White House, but I have never been able to take a tour of the White House. If you've been able to take a tour of the White House, let me know what it was like. When I was a kid, they had this thing where you could go in really early in the morning and supposedly the bricks of the White House vibrate or hum or sing. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. I can remember that as a kid, but I think that's so cool. But if you've done the White House tour, I want to hear about it because I think that would be so cool to go see the White House. Again, I'm going to highlight one of the cool things if you are in DC, especially at a conference or something, you're on limited budgets, you're on your per diem, or you have just escaped your 9 to 5 and you're just out on the road. Because again, Mercedes, if you are listening, I want a Sprinter van so I can go explore the world. But if you're just out there exploring, of course, you're not going to be blowing a whole bunch of money. DC is an amazing stop because just about all the museums are free. Like I said, you've got the Natural Museum of African History, the Space Museum. Oh my goodness, this place is amazing. They had the Spirit of St. Louis hanging from the ceiling. You have the Apollo mission capsules in there. It is so cool. And if you saw anything with the space program growing up or you love airplanes, that is a place to go. I have wandered through there in between conference panels and just was mesmerized and found it amazing. Of course, there's the art gallery, and that place is really cool because it's circular. And so you just kind of wander up. It feels like you're just wandering up, and then it has a way for you to kind of wander back down. I don't know if that's actually how it's made, but it just felt that way. And so it was a very easy art museum to navigate. I have not had a chance to explore this one either, but the Library of Congress. Being able to walk in there, that's on my list. Go back and check out. If you're not wanting to be inside at some of the museums, of course, you can go to Rock Creek Park and walk around there. Again, I'm saying caution, go in pairs, don't be by yourself, all of that. Here is one of my tricks that I'll do as I am exploring neighborhoods in DC or I'm trying to get someplace. I put on my headphones. I don't use my wireless ones. I use my wired headphones to my phone, and then I put into the map app where I'm going and I'm walking. So she'll tell me in my ear where I'm going. Number one, it doesn't make me look so touristy. So you're not looking like somebody who needs to be stopped and given directions or like you are unfamiliar and you could be taken advantage of. And it lets also people know that feel like you're talking to somebody, so that it gives that extra layer of protection and a shield for you. Do with it as you want, but that's what I do. If you are there for a conference or you're there for business and you get an opportunity to be at one of the hotels in one of these really cool neighborhoods that they have in DC, be sure to go out and explore these neighborhoods. The architecture, the brownstones, the houses are just so cool. So you have DuPont Circle, and they have the most beautiful historic homes here. I just love walking through the streets and looking at all these homes. They have thrift shops and coffee shops, and it's just people live in DC. It's not just a conference town and a place for museums and Congress and all of that. People live in DC and they have beautiful homes there. Of course, one of the favorites is Georgetown. You can go over there and they've got these really funky, cool vibe restaurants, and they have a neat scenes. You can explore Georgetown University. You've got Foggy Bottom. I don't have a clue where these names came from. I guess I need to look that up. But you have a history, a mix of historic and modern over in Foggy Bottom. And of course, you have easy access to the Potomac River. And then just outside, a short metro ride. Keep in mind, they have the metro. Short metro ride, you can go to Old Town Alexandria and quaint streets, rich history, all of that. DC, outside of the museums and the really cool architecture, has a vibrant food scene. So if you're looking for something in particular to eat or a cuisine you want to try, I'll bet you will find it there. So be sure to talk to your concierge, go on to Mr. Google. If you're looking for anything in particular, let me know. I might have been there. So again, I'm going to give some tips here for solo travelers, especially females. Stay in safe areas. Don't go wandering down dark alleys. I think I'm just preaching to the choir when I say this. But, stay in well-lit areas. Do solo-friendly activities when you wander around. If you don't walk at night, unless it's just a short distance, make sure you check around the neighborhood that you're in. There is public transportation, so you can take the metro. Again, just be cognizant. It's a subway. Be cognizant, be aware of what's your surroundings. Be aware. You can also take Lyft and Uber. There are some really cool interactive exhibits. So if you just don't want to just go to a museum and just stare at something and not do anything, of course, you can go to the International Spy Museum, and that's a fun way. It's interactive to spend time. But don't discount DC or some of these other very large cities that you can explore if you happen to be in town or you just like to travel solo. DC is an amazing place to go, even if you are a solo traveler. If this has piqued your interest in traveling and exploring the options that are available to you as we start to ditch that 9 to 5 and start to build a life that gives us the opportunities and the freedoms that we want to do, head over to from9tothrive.com. Lots and lots of information over there on how to help you plan your escape. Tips and ideas and strategies that are going to keep you thriving as you move forward in your journey. But you can also book a coaching session with me or grab our free mini course. Heck, there's a whole bunch of things over there that you can do. Head over to from9tothrive.com, explore it. Let me know what's missing over there. What else do you guys need? I'm here to help inspire, keep you thriving, and helping you on your journey to get to live the life you are absolutely destined to live.
And there you have it, friends, your mini guide to exploring Washington, D.C. on your own and loving every minute of it. We've covered everything from iconic landmarks like the Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument to lesser-known gems hiding in plain sight. Plus, I've shared my personal tips on staying safe and enjoying solo travel with confidence. Here's your next step. Go online, plan that DC trip or any other solo adventure, and get out there to explore. Remember, every trip, big or small, brings you closer to discovering more of the world and yourself. Oh, and don't forget, if you need more inspiration, tips, or even a little extra push, head over to from9tothrive.com. You'll find a treasure trove of resources, coaching opportunities, and ways to connect with our amazing community. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Keep dreaming big, keep thriving, and always keep exploring. Until next time, I'm Michelle, and this has been Freedom Friday. Catch you later, folks.